The Burning House. I had been a firefighter for 15 years when I got the call that would change everything. It was an ordinary summer night at the station, quiet, save for the hum of the TV in the lounge. The call came in just after midnight. A fire on Cedar Street, an old part of town filled with abandoned homes. My crew and I suited up and climbed into the engine. As we sped through the empty streets, the dispatcher's voice crackled over the radio. Report of a child trapped inside. Single-story house, corner of Cedar and Pine. We arrived to find the house fully engulfed. Flames licked the roof and black smoke billowed into the night sky. It was strange, though. The fire was raging, yet there was no one outside watching. No neighbors, no bystanders. Just us and the inferno. "Let's move," I shouted, grabbing the hose and heading toward the front door. My partner Jake followed close behind with the tools. As soon as we breached the door, the heat hit me like a wall. The fire roared, devouring everything in its path. Visibility was almost zero, but then I heard it, a faint, desperate cry. "Help, please, someone help me." It was a child's voice, coming from somewhere deeper inside. "Kids in here!" I yelled over my shoulder. Jake nodded, and we pressed forward, navigating the collapsing structure. In a back bedroom, we found her. A little girl, maybe 8 years old, crouched in the corner. Her hair was matted with soot, and tears streaked her ash-covered cheeks. She wore a faded pink nightgown and clutched a stuffed rabbit to her chest. "It's okay, sweetheart," I said, crouching down. "We're here to get you out." Her wide eyes locked onto mine, and she whispered, "It's too late." I didn't understand what she meant, but there was no time to ask. I scooped her up and carried her out, Jake covering us with the hose. As soon as we were outside, the house collapsed in on itself, sending embers shooting into the sky. I set the girl down on the grass and turned to check her for injuries, but when I looked, she was gone. I spun around, searching the area, but she had vanished. Jake and the others looked at me like I'd lost my mind when I asked if they'd seen her. "There was no kid, man," Jake said. "You must have imagined it." I wanted to argue, but the look in their eyes told me it was useless. I chalked it up to stress and exhaustion and let it go. 2 weeks later, we got another call. Same street, same house, Cedar and Pine. "It can't be," I muttered as we pulled up. The house stood exactly as it had before, intact as though the fire had never happened. "Must be a mistake," Jake said, but when we stepped out of the engine, there it was again. Flames consuming the house and that same faint cry. "Help! Please, someone help me!" My heart pounded as we forced our way inside. Just like before, the heat was suffocating and the smoke was blinding. And just like before, I found her in the back bedroom. Same pink nightgown, same stuffed rabbit, same wide, terrified eyes. "It's okay, sweetheart," I said again, though my voice shook this time. "We'll get you out." She didn't resist as I picked her up, but she whispered something that sent chills down my spine. "You shouldn't have come back." When we got outside, the house collapsed, just like before. And again, she vanished. After that, the calls kept coming. Every few weeks, the same house, the same fire, the same little girl. No one else ever saw her, but I couldn't ignore it. I started researching the house, desperate for answers. I found an old newspaper article from 20 years ago. A fire had destroyed the house, killing a family of 3. The parents had died trying to save their daughter, a girl named Emily. She had been 8 years old, wearing a pink nightgown and holding her favorite stuffed rabbit. The article said they'd found her body in the back bedroom, curled up in the corner. The next time the call came, I was ready. I didn't tell anyone what I'd found. They already thought I was losing it. But when I entered the house this time, I didn't try to save her. "Emily," I said, kneeling down, "you don't have to be afraid anymore." Her eyes filled with tears, and for the first time she smiled. "Thank you," she whispered, and then she was gone. The calls stopped after that. The house burned down one final time and was never rebuilt. But sometimes late at night, I still hear her voice in my dreams. "Thank you.